Welcome to the ADHD Amusement Park, where the entry fee is your executive function. The maps, they keep changing. And the rides, well, half of them are out of order. Here's the reality most of us will never make it to the coasters. Why? Because we get stuck on the Midway. We get stuck playing rigged games like ring toss or balloon pop in hopes of winning a cheap prize that will give us a thrill for about 5 seconds. AI and I crunched the numbers on over 500 responses to the following question: how do you get your dopamine? In other words, what attractions are we visiting? Or are we spending all of our tickets and time at the Midway games? Or are we brave enough to wait in line for the regulator, that massive roller coaster that'll help rewire the brain? Let's find out. These are the top 12 ways that people with ADHD get their dopamine. Kicking us off at number 12 is gaming and gambling. And on our Midway, this is the claw machine. You know the claw machine, it lifts the prize up just to drop it back into the pit at the last second. That's a 5-second dopamine hit, followed with several minutes of regret. So you try again. In real life, this dopamine hit comes from things like slot machines and video games. I had to actually ban myself from mobile games. Why? Because of microtransactions. I swear that microtransactions were made for people like us with ADHD. I mean, you're not buying a bonus life in a microtransaction, when you spend that $5 for a gem pack, you're buying a dopamine hit. And I got suckered into games like Monopoly Go, where for a few dollars, I could have the lights flash for a few extra minutes, and then suddenly, I'm empty again. Coming in at number 11 with 5.5% of the vote, sex, pleasure, and intimacy. Look, the brain is a biological amusement park, and this is the tunnel of love. We don't have to dwell here, mostly to stay on the good side of the YouTube algorithm. So let's just say that this is a popular ride for a reason. And keep moving. Coming in at number 10 is shopping and spending. If you watched the Impulse Regrets video, then you'll know that I call these business investments. In fact, look at my newest business investment. I mean, I need something to hold the microphone. This is like the Souvenir Shop. We buy the souvenir to trick our brains into thinking we're on the adventure, when in reality, we're just standing in the gift shop swiping a credit card. Whether it's Amazon Prime or the clearance aisle, the dopamine hit happens when you click buy. And by the time the package actually arrives, the ride is over. Numbers 8, 9, and 10 are all tied. We've covered shopping, so that brings us to prescription medications and clinical treatments. Now, in the ADHD amusement park, this isn't a game. This is the maintenance crew. This is us tightening the bolts so that the ride doesn't fall apart. Whether it's Adderall, Ritalin, Wellbutrin, or therapy, this is the daily maintenance that keeps the structures safe. It's not cheating, it's infrastructure. Also at 7% is number 8, adrenaline, speed, and risk-taking. Things like motorcycles, fast cars, and skydiving. This, my friends, is the drop tower. When I was about 11 years old, I went to visit my grandma and grandpa in Idaho. One day, while they were out running errands, I got bored. So I went exploring in the garage and I found Grandpa's motorcycle. And I was like, wow, do you know how fun that would be to build a ramp in the backyard and drive that motorcycle off the ramp like Evel Knievel? So I did. And I crashed his bike. And it broke. So I put it back in the garage, hoping they wouldn't find out. The ADHD nervous system is often sleepy. Sometimes it feels like we have to terrify it just to wake it up. We strap in, drop 20 stories, and finally, for a few seconds, the brain is quiet. Number 7 is tasks, small wins, and projects. There's a specific physical sensation many of us get when we check off a box. It's like hitting the target at the shooting gallery.
Target hit!
Unlike the claw machine of gaming, this is a game of skill. When you clear the sink or finish the project, you actually win the prize. It clears the clutter from the park. Number 6 is substances. And let's be real about the data here. We aren't talking about coffee. We're talking about alcohol, cannabis, and for many in the comments, harder psychedelics and stimulants. For many, this may not be about getting high. It may be more about finding a mute button. The amusement park of the brain is too loud, too bright, and too chaotic at times. So some people may reach for substances to dim the lights and turn down the volume. It may work to stop the noise for a few hours, but when it wears off, the noise may come back louder than before. Number 5 brings us to meet and greet, social connection, laughter, and pets. In the ADHD amusement park, the scariest thing is riding alone. This here is the buddy system. Whether it's body doubling with a friend to get work done, or just sitting with a pet, or watching a cat video with a cat on your lap, the dopamine hit here comes from co-regulation. My brain might be spinning out, but if I can sync up with the calm of your nervous system, or even with just a sleeping cat or dog, it stabilizes the ride for both of us. Number 4 is music and performance. This is the soundproof booth. The ADHD amusement park is full of distractions, screaming kids, clanking rides, flashing lights. Music is the only way to build a wall around yourself. It blocks out the chaos of the Midway so you can actually focus on the one game you're trying to play. It turns a public space into a private bubble. Number 3 is brain and body boost. Cold showers, meditation, nature walks. This is us trying to find a natural high versus a cheap high. Think of this as finding the hidden nature trail behind the noisy roller coasters. We step away from the flashing lights and the Midway just to breathe. In this area, it's cleaner fuel. It doesn't give you the jitters like caffeine, and it doesn't leave you with a hangover like alcohol. It just clears the fog. We're down to the final 2 ways that ADHDers get their dopamine, and coming in at number 2 is food and drinks. And in the ADHD amusement park, this is the cotton candy, or the churros. I have an issue with stimulation snacking. When I hit a wall in my work, I should go for a walk. But instead, I often find myself reaching for the Reese's Pieces. Why? Because it's the fastest way to feel something. But just like the cotton candy, it dissolves instantly. I mean, it tastes great for 3 seconds, but it leaves you feeling sticky, gross, and quite frankly, looking for more. It is the ultimate cheap dopamine. And finally, the number 1 way that ADHDers get their dopamine is exercise and movement. This is the main attraction. This coaster is called the Regulator. And here's the thing about the Regulator. It has a long, tall lift hill. You know that part of the coaster where you're being dragged up, clickety click, 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 as you slowly go towards the top. That's what exercise is like to the ADHD mind. It's long, it's hard, it's boring, and it takes too much effort. But here is the key. The key is that you have to make the climb in order to get the payoff. Exercise is like the power plant that keeps the light on in our park. It seems counterintuitive, I'm tired. Why would I run? But spending that physical energy is the only way to generate the mental energy that we are so desperate for. I can't tell you how thrilled I was to see that exercise and movement was the #1 way in this post that ADHDers get their dopamine. It inspires me. I'll start tomorrow. When we look at this list, it's a map for how we try to survive. We're all just looking for enough dopamine to get through the day. You know, if we're feeling stuck in the Midway and we're tired of the cheap prizes and the sugar crashes, maybe this is our sign to walk past the games and try the regulator. It's a harder climb up that tall lift hill, but man, is the view from the top worth it. Where your entry fee is your executive function, the maps, they keep changing. What's the third? We get stuck playing rigged games like ring toss or balloon throw. Balloon throw. Try balloon pop. Look, the brain is a biological amusement park, and this is the tunnel of love. Okay. This is the main attraction. We call this the regulator. And here's the thing about the regulator. It has a massive lift hill. You know that part of the closter? What's a closter? A roller coaster.